Radhe Radhe everyone. Welcome to our daily wisdom from Bhagavad Gita session. Nitinji, over to you.
Thank you, Amritavani, and thank you, Gayatri and Padmini for a wonderful session, like always. So welcome, a very warm welcome to all of you in today's edition of Daily Wisdom from Bhagavad Gita. So after that enthusiastic participation, we will continue with our journey. Lord Krishna has been talking about faith is an essential ingredient for us to progress on this path. And even to take the best import out of any scripture, and Bhagavad Gita included, we need to have faith and conviction on the words of God. Now, in this verse, he's going to talk about what happens if you don't have faith. Okay, that is what we are going to do. So like yin yang, he explains one aspect, and then to reinforce that concept, he picks up the other aspect as well. And that is what we are going to talk about today. So again, a very warm welcome. Let's get started by invoking the blessings of God and Guru, like we always do. So I'm going to share my screen and we will get started that way. Give me a sec. All right, so let's get started. Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsa Chanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. All right. So good morning, good evening to all of you. Let's get started. So today we are on verse 3.32 as we are doing the recap of chapter 3 before we get back into our sequence, which is in chapter 4. But let's recap this verse, these verses that we are doing right now for the benefit of all the new participants. So I'll pick up this verse and you're welcome to follow along. Ye tve dabhya suyanto nanutishtanti me matam sarvagyan vimudastan vidhi nashtana chetasaha. All right, do we have any volunteers?
Yes.
Pick up a few volunteers and then get started.
Toshi, please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe.
Ye tve tad abhyashuyanto nanutishtanti me matam sarvajnana vimudhans tanvidhi nashtan chetasaha.
Very nice, Ashutosh. Radhe Radhe.
Sunita ji, Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe. Let me unmute myself once.
You are unmuted. You are unmuted.
Thank you. Radhe Radhe. Ye tat vayasuyanto nanutishtanti me matam sarvajnana vimudastan vidhi nastan chantasa. Radhe Radhe.
Sandhya, please go ahead.
Very nice, thank you.
Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe.
Ye tve tadbhyasuyanto nanutishtanti me matam sarvajnana vimudhanstan vidhi nashtana chetasaha.
Very nice, Sandhya. Thank you. Let's move on.
Shyamji, please go ahead. Radhe Radhe.
Ye tve tad abhyasuyanto nanutishtanti me matam sarvajnana vimudastan vidhi nashtana chetasaha.
Very nice. Thank you, Shyamji. We can pick up 3 more hands and then we'll get started.
Surya Prakashi, please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe Nitinji.
Radhe Radhe.
एत्वेतदभ्यसूयन्तो नानुतिष्ठन्ति मे मतं सर्वज्ञानविमूढांस्तान् विद्धि नष्टान् चेतसा रथ.
Very nice. Surya Prakash ji, Radhe Radhe.
Sumesh ji, please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe, you can say Radhe Radhe everyone. Ye tvedhyasuyanto nanutishtanti me matam sarvajnana vimudhastan viddhi nashtana chetasah. Radhe
Very
Radhe.
nice, Sumesh ji, Radhe Radhe. Okay, last but not the least, Aparna ji.
Aparna ji, please go ahead.
राधे राधे ये अभ्यसूयन्तो नानुतिष्ठन्ति मे मतं सर्वज्ञानविमूढांस्तान् विद्धि नष्टान् अचेतसः. Thank you.
Very nice, Aparna ji. All right, so let's get started. In this verse, give me a sec. So in this verse, Lord Krishna is saying that those who are devoid, who find faults with my teachings, being bereft of knowledge and devoid of discrimination, they disregard these principles and bring about their own ruin. So let's see what it means. So we'll get started. So today we are, as part of the discussion, we are going to pick up these aspects as well. Why there is misery in the world if God is all compassionate? I'm sure a lot of you would have struggled with this question as well. Then, even in the material world, a father takes care of its child and does not let it stay in a pitiable state. And then why then humans are being tormented by Maya. Okay, now if you are one of the few, lucky few who feel that you are not tormented, you can raise your hand and we can have a discussion. But the point is that we are in a state which is a bit treacherous state. It is like walking through a forest in the middle of a night, where there is danger at every step. Okay, doesn't mean we have to become paranoid, but if you think deeply about it, that is essentially how it is. Okay, this human life, it is a great opportunity, but not bereft of risks. Adi Devik, Adi Bhautik, Adhyatmik, Panch Klesh, Tritap, Tridosh, Trigun, all that stuff we have to deal with as part of this, right? Now, why does God, if God is there, and then why do we see so much of misery in this world as well? We'll try to tackle this question as well. So let's get started. Okay, we'll get started with this discussion only. Okay, so you see this, there's a pit here. Okay, believe it or not, it's a pit only. Okay, now here you have a little kid stuck in this pit. Okay, so this kid is stuck in this pit, and you have God, kid in a ditch, and then you have God who's looking at this kid. Now this kid says, looking at the God, you know what he's saying? Can I say something? Shall I say something? God said, sure, go ahead. Go ahead, please. He said, but what I'm going to say, you're not going to like. So God says, go ahead. Okay, I'm used to it. Okay, 24/7 by 365, there are enough people who say things which are not very encouraging for me about myself. So he said, are you sure? He said, yes, sure, go ahead. So then this little boy says, you are seeing that I am stuck in this ditch right now. God says, sure enough, I can see that. I have eyes. In fact, my definition is that, bin pag chalu sunehu binu kanha. God has eyes all over the place, and he can walk without feet, and he's sarvatra samana. Ramayana says he's present everywhere. So of course I can see you. He said, you can see, right, that I'm in a pitiable state. He said, sure enough, I can see that. And he said, even in the material world, a father takes care of its child and it does not let it stay in a pitiable state. Then how come you have been seeing me lifetime after lifetime being tormented by your Maya? Maya only, not your Maya, Maya only, your Maya. I think the kid would say if it has Tattva Gyan. So it says by Maya. and still you're not doing something about it. So what kind of a father are you? So God takes a pause. He said, well, you got a point here, but let me ask you one question in return. Okay. And God asked this question. It's a very important question, right? We think there's so much of misery in this world and all that stuff. And then what is God doing? Is he powerless, right? There was a Jewish rabbi whose son got an ailment. That ailment was that he started growing old at a very young age. There's a particular disease like that. You've seen that movie Pa, Amitabh Bachchan, that disease. So he grew old very fast. So Jewish rabbis, he thought a lot about this topic, and he thought either there is no God. Okay, that's what he's saying based on his experience, or God is there, but he's not all powerful. And sometimes it gets defeated by Satan. Okay, and that is why probably something as tragic as I'm witnessing, despite all the good deeds that I have done. Okay, so that is what he concluded. However, he did not have the benefit of our scriptures. Okay, so that you understand it in perspective. Now, this case that the soul has put across to God is very valid. Right? That we are in a pitiable state, and God is being a witness, silent witness to this whole thing, and he's not doing anything about it. So when this kid presents that question to God's now let's look at the response of God. He said, okay, you are saying that even in material world, a father takes care of a child and does not let it stay in a pitiable state. And you are my father. Why are you silent witness? So God says, all right, now let's look at the God's classic response. He said, all right, first tell me, do you really believe that I'm your father? Okay, that is a question posed to soul. That is the real thing. Do we really believe he's our father? And when we start believing that, of course he'll intervene. Right? So the whole game of spirituality is to become nirashrit. Like Draupadi became nirashrit, but she did not become right at the moment go. First, she had her relatives bal, looking at her husbands who were Maharathis, starting with Arjun, Bhim, all powerful people. So they hung their head like we cannot do anything. Then she looked at the elders, that the elders bal she looked at, they are going to intervene. They also said we can't do anything. After that also she's not going to God. Okay, then after that she's one of the Panchakanya. She was a strong lady. She tried her own bal by holding on to her sari and clasping it and clasping it inside her teeth. She tried her own swabal. Now Dushasan, on the other hand, he had a bal of 100 elephants. Now, even if Draupadi were to match up to his power or his bal, the cloth shearing would have given away, right? It would have torn. So that also did not happen. And then she said, Dwarkadhish, Govind, and immediately Ambar Avatar happened. So when you truly believe in God, God has to intervene. There's no other choice, right? So, but that faith is not there, that he's our father. So we put across this point, but the question comes back to us. Do we truly believe he's our father? Okay. There's a story Swamiji says, right? There was a guy who got stuck in he fell down from a mountain while tracking or going for some place, and he barely was able to hang on to a bush. So while he was holding on to a bush, he started remembering all the temples that he had gone in the childhood, Hanuman temple, Sitaram temple, and all the temples. And then he started calling out, Sitaram, can you please save me now that I'm in a precarious position? And it was his lucky day. Sitaram responded. He said, all right, let go of the bush and we are here. And then he thought again, he said, anybody other than Sitaram, can you save me? So the point is, the faith is not there in God, okay? And it's a story of pretty much everyone. Now let's move on and look at it. Now this pit, if you look at it, is nothing but Maya. The kid is none other than us, if you would have guessed by now, and by it is through our own choice. We have chosen this pit. Okay, we are the authors of our destiny and we have chosen this pit. We don't want to get out of it. It's a little bit like this monkey who, we know how they are captured. They are you put some mungfali or peanuts as a bait in a jar, the monkey will put in their hand, okay, and then The fist is formed and they get stuck. All that the monkey needs to do is release that fist, but it is not. It wants to hang on to it because it thinks that is where its happiness is. We are also hanging on to Maya or the world like that. By the way, this is how they used to capture monkeys. Even now they do that. And in 60s, India used to be the biggest exporter of monkeys in the world until Morarji Desai came and he stopped all that practice. But that is how they used to capture monkeys. There's another example, parrot. You know how they capture parrot. So the parrot, when what they do is hunters, they put the spindle on a wire. So there's a wire and there's a spindle on it, and the the parrot comes, it sits on this spindle and it rotates, and because it rotates, it is upside down. And when it is upside down, some action happened. It thoughts, somebody has captured me, and it keeps holding on to that spindle through its claws, and the hunter comes and nicely puts a cage around it. So that is how it happens. So our situation is also a little bit like that. Not a little bit, in fact, like that. We are holding on to Maya and instead complaining that Maya is holding on to us. When Ram Bhagwan had asked this question to sage Vashisht, he explained this to him. When he asked this question, he went to the nearest tree, just hugged that tree and said, leave me, leave me, leave me. Ramji thought, I had asked a question, and what happened to Guruji? And Guruji said, you asked me a question, I'm just answering your question. You asked me what is Maya. This is like this tree. You are holding on to it and saying, leave me, leave me, leave me. Okay, so this is the story of our life. Basically, we are so hung up in Maya, we don't want to let go of it. And at the same time, we keep complaining that, Maya is capturing us right now, because we don't have faith in God as yet. We think that the things around us will eventually give us bliss or the happiness or the peace that we are seeking. So that is a question of faith. Now let's move on. Let's look at it through another example and another analogy. Okay, here's a guy. You see, it's a bearded guy. Okay, and he has some cousins as well. So there's another bearded guy. You see him with gogs as well. The first one is, and then there's another bearded guy. So you are walking around the city and you keep meeting all these guys one after another. Okay, and then there's another one. He seems like an alter ego of the second one with a slightly more diminished face, right? But he also has beard. That is the common denominator, right? All are bearded guys. Now you see all the bearded guys because we are taking a walk around. And then what you conclude, this is the conclusion you draw. So many people with beard I see. So there are no barbers in the world. Okay, that is the conclusion that you have drawn. Okay. Now, would it be a sensible conclusion? Why or why not? Anybody, real quick? See, in CAT and other exams, they put these. Can you find a logical flaw in this particular argument? So do you think it's a logical argument? Of course, it is not, right? Yeah, sure. Someshi, you wanted to say something?
Go ahead, Sumesh.
When hate does destroy.
Right. Choice. It's a matter of choice, right? They want to keep beard. So it is something similar to this, okay? There is so much misery in this world, so there is no God, okay? So there is a logical fallacy in this whole thing as well. People don't choose to go to God. They have not chosen auspiciousness or things that could take care of that misery, and we complain that there is no God. So there's a logical fallacy in this argument as well. Okay, as we would see, we'll continue on this discussion. So it's something similar. If you choose darkness, the light cannot make way, right? When lightness is there, darkness cannot be there. And if you continue to see that, that's probably a choice that has been made. And we are anyway going to talk about the relationships that we have established with God, right? It is a perfect karmic cycle that we are subject to because of, one of the beauty of his creations is it has certain rules, and it's the perfect justice dispensing system that we are currently operating in. And because of it, whatever is happening for a reason, and everybody is perfectly situated where they need to be, right? So it's a matter of looking at it from that standpoint, as opposed to saying if there is something bad happening, God is powerless or God is not there. Well, let's move on. Now, with Lord or Krishna, there are two possibilities, okay, when we talk about the message. Bhagavad Gita. Either you have faith, or you don't have it, right? Either you have faith, or the second possibility is that you have pride. So if you have a lack of faith, that is your pride. Basically, you are not relying on the words. You have a pride, thinking that no, it may not be the case, or some doubt is there as well. Now, what happens when you have faith? It leads to eternal salvation, words of God or scriptures. And when you have pride or doubts about everything around it, it is a path to self-destruction, or ruin is essentially what bringing about their own ruin. So it's a pathway. And what is that ruin? Ruin is considered as the rotation in the cycle of life and death, which is the 8.4 million tourism. That is called ruin from a scriptural standpoint. We may be happy doing that tourism in ignorance, but from a scriptural standpoint, it is a path to self-destruction only, because of the underutilized potential that we have to go much further. Yes, Andrea, you had a question?
Yeah, just quickly. So people who lack faith out of ignorance, will they also be categorized in pride?
So in this particular context, it is basically when you don't have faith. See, the way I'm understanding this particular verse is, it's like you come across a verse and then you don't have faith. Now you cannot say it's ignorance, right?
You are exposed to knowledge.
Right.
Yeah.
You're exposed to knowledge in that case, right? So this is in that category. It's like you heard this, but you don't have complete thing. And we will just hold on to this, okay? I'll get back to this point again. So now the question is, immediately our intellect would say, no, how can it be pride alone? No, it's not pride, but let's challenge that a little bit later, okay? So it's like you are getting that knowledge, you are hearing that, but something still stops us from believing it completely, okay? And that's essentially our pride only. It's not the ignorance. You have been exposed to that knowledge. There is something more going on there. We'll get back to that. So the teachings presented by Lord Krishna, they are perfect for our eternal welfare. When we say eternal, means not limited to this lifetime alone, because spiritual wealth is something that God is kind enough to give it to us, and preserve it for us across lifetimes. So material knowledge that you gain, material assets you have to leave behind. It's like when you get on an aeroplane, you cannot take liquids along with you, right? Similarly, when we depart from this world, we cannot take our material assets, even if we are a millionaire, billionaire, or whoever we are. Like great Alexander, when he died, he said, keep my hands outside my coffin so that the entire world can see that even the great Alexander could not take anything along with him. He conquered so many kingdoms and acquired so much of wealth, but he could not take along anything, right? And as there's a saying in, kya is दुनिया में क्या कमाए क्या हीरे क्या मोती, but क्या करो यारो कफन में जेब नहीं होती. So the point is, you cannot really take anything along with you in this. But the eternal welfare, when we are talking about, is basically the teachings. If you take those teachings to heart, imbibe those teachings through Shravan, Manan, and Nididhyasan, where you are intellectually convinced that, yes, this is it. Nididhyasan is a state. How do you build faith? You build faith through the three-step process. First you hear, then you deeply contemplate about it. Like Newton contemplated and came across that law of gravity, right? Or Buddha contemplated and said, I need a solution to the permanent end of this misery that I see around it. And then you contemplate, and then you're intellectually convinced that, yes, this is it. So when you reach that stage, it results in eternal welfare, because that particular part God is going to preserve for you, and it becomes a perpetual permanent asset for us. However, our material intellect has innumerable imperfections, and so we are not able to comprehend the sublimity of the teachings or appreciate their benefits. See, with Bhagavad Gita also it happens. Based on the size of our vessel, we extract that much part only. So the same verse, different people will pick up different interpretations around it. It happens, and if I can vouch for it, because my own understanding and interpretation keeps on growing. I'm doing a second round for the recap of chapter 2 and 3, right? When I did it for the first time, and what I understood next time, there were a few more layers that were peeled. It's not like you have done it. Whenever I visit a shloka again, it's like, wow, something new has come out, because it is a sentient knowledge. God's chitta shakti is there. So, but the point is, because of our imperfection, because we are not yet perfect, this knowledge also keeps on growing to us. And until then, because of our imperfection, we are not able to comprehend it or take the real import out of it. Okay, that can happen too, or appreciate its benefit. Now, what happens because of that? And then we have a mental fever we talk about, yeah, illusion, lust, anger, envy, greed, starting with ignorance. So these sublime teachings, we are not able to get the true import of it unless we are working on it. So the purer our mind or intellect becomes, the more we are able to get the import out of it. And when we become completely clean, devoid of all these defects, and then this true import will anyway become our Dai Bhak. Dai Bhak means our inheritance. God will give it to us. This is how this process goes. So even if you have come across a verse, never think I know it all or I've heard it before. This knowledge is so sentient that it will keep on growing on us no matter how many times we keep on reading it until we become God realized. That is how powerful this knowledge is. Okay. Now, so this is the pride I spoke about. And this is a persistent defects of our material intellect. Okay. Pride is something which first thing to come and last thing to leave. Okay, it's a huge thing, a big deal that we have to deal with, basically, big thing that we have to deal with. Even a person who's sweeping the floor has a pride. Okay, like Swamiji was telling in one of his lectures that people would come and leave, and then there was a guy he was speaking to, so he asked him, how's everything? He said, Swamiji, people come, they sit, they throw stuff, and finally it's me only who has to do all that stuff. So he said even he has some kind of a pride, right? He who's doing it. So the pride is something, it's very subtle in all of us. First effect to come and the last one to leave. Okay, but using this only, we have to work on ourselves. So this is pride we are talking about. Like, what does pride? Basically, pride is something which takes us further away from reality, right? It's actually a cat and looking upon itself as a tiger. And humility is something which takes us closer to our true self. So the closer we are to humility, the more we are making way for God. The more we have pride, the less space we have kept for God. So pride is something that is our, one of our topmost enemies on the path of spirituality that we really need to work on. Humility is something that even God appreciates or likes. Yes, Dashini, you had a question? Now,
Radhe,
because of
Radhe,
this,
Nitin Bhaiya.
okay. Yeah.
Yes, I just want to because this pride topic was going on, and then something struck in my head, and I just felt like, for example, pride means that I am a doer, but in Bhagavad Gita we have studied that I am a non-doer. Right? So is it that the willpower to change myself and become the servant of God, and if I just have the willpower and the rest is done by God and Hari Guru's grace, and is that grace of Hari Guru is the doer, like?
True. So that is one part of
Is
it.
it that?
We consider ourselves as a doer. Is that your question, Dashini? Is that all?
Yes. Like I mean, I just wanted to like ask you that is the grace of Hari Guru the doer? That means everything is done by God. So what I am doing? Is
Right.
it just the willpower of my? So that is it, the thing. Because it talks about because of
sorry.
the self. Sorry.
Okay, we'll come back to
like
that. Maybe we can pick it up once we cover everything, then we'll get back to all the questions. Okay. So the pride, let's talk about it. It's one part of it is we have looked at in Karam Yoga. We are not the doers. When we say that, that doesn't mean God is doing through us. If we were perfectly surrendered, then God would take control of us. Then we become mere instruments. Till that point, we are exercising our free will, not in accordance with God's will. We are the bhokta, because karam phal, if God was the doer, then why should we get karam phal? God should be getting all the karam phal. And then if God is doing everything, then everything should be perfect. So yes, we are doing it, but when we say we are not the doer, the underlying concept there is that it is the God's energy that we are utilizing to do something. So we have to give credit to God's energy. Without his energy, we cannot do anything. And at the same time, as free will, because we are not yet perfect or pure yet, we are not able to exercise our free will in accordance with God's will. And that is where we are bhoktas. When we align it perfectly, we are not. We'll get back to that. But here, the pride that I'm talking about is because of this false pride that we have, what happens is whatever our intellect is not able to comprehend at present, and I've seen this selective, what do you call that? We pick up stuff selectively also, right? Whatever appeals to our intellect in Bhagavad Gita, yeah, it makes sense. And then something it doesn't, we put a but you know what? It doesn't appeal to me or doesn't make sense. That is our pride talking. So it's scriptures have said it is like cooked rice. If part of it is cooked, rest of it is cooked as well. Just because your intellect is not able to comprehend it, you cannot simply dismiss it. Okay. So what happens because of our pride is now it's for the welfare of soul, this teaching is there. There people find it difficult because whatever his intellect is not able to comprehend, then it rejects it as incorrect or puts a big question mark on it. You would have seen, right? A lot of armchair intellectuals would come and say, you know what, Bhagavad Gita, this part doesn't make sense. I mean, who are we to question that part? In fact, in one of the Gyan commentaries, the person has put in a question mark on one of the shlokas. Everything makes sense, but said this one doesn't make sense. How can you put question mark? I mean, the right attitude is okay, pending judgment or pending clarification. Okay, I am intellectually incapable of understanding it right now. In due course of time, it will make sense. Till then, let me suspend my judgment around it. That is a good attitude as opposed to simply dismissing the word of God. Okay. Now, people even put a question mark. Why is God asking everything to be offered to him? Right? When he says, Patram, Pushpam, Phalam, Toyam, or Yad Karoshi, Yad Nashi, right? Then whatever you do, whatever, offer it to me. Why is he asking him? And then they put a question mark that is he greedy? And then is he an egotist that is asking Arjun to worship him? These kind of questions would start coming. Okay, that are very, very detrimental to our spiritual progress, really don't help. Let these concepts grow on you. And if you are one of those who have heard a lot about Bhagavatam and without understanding the ABC of spirituality directly open up a 10th canto and start talking about Maharas and stuff, then there's a good chance you'll not only end up doing Namaparad, but become an atheist. Okay, so we have to suspend a few things until we have understood it. So the right attitude is either come in contact with a bona fide source or a guru and then start assimilating that knowledge and let it grow on you. In due course of time, with God and Guru's grace, everything will make sense. But when we start jumping to conclusion and dismiss these teachings, that's when the problem happens. Now I'll take it a little further. I'll say, no, you believe in it as well. Still, there is a pride. I'll tell you where it is and how it manifests. Okay, let's move on. So we've been talking about that Lord Krishna is saying such people, they are achetasa, devoid of discrimination, who dismiss it. Because they cannot distinguish between, what can they not distinguish between? What is pure, what is impure? Okay, they would, why, how does it happen? They are willing to idolize the stars and the role models that they form in the material world and speak highly about them and get inspired by them, which is fine from a material standpoint. But when they come across a saint or an elevated soul, they reject and dismiss them because they don't have the discrimination to know what is pure and what is impure. So in Kali Yuga more so, even the impure things are idolized. People just make heroes out of anybody, and we see those trends happening. And then the other discrimination is what is righteous, what is unrighteous. We have no discrimination faculty around that as well. It's always a little tricky. Creator versus created, master versus servant. We forget all that part because we have become hogis to out there to enjoy life, forgetting or not knowing or being in ignorance that who is the master, who is the servant in grand scheme of things. Okay, and even after knowing, that knowledge slips. Okay, this is not a question of ignorance alone. Even after knowing, we keep falling to this trap. Okay, and that because of that, what happens is our faith is not pakka, or that 100% faith that Lord Krishna is talking about is not yet there. And I'll tell you how it manifests. You'll be surprised to see that. I'm going to pose a question later on, but it's not there yet. Believe it or not, it is the fact. Okay. Now, such people, we're talking about people who completely dismiss it, not the ones who believe in it, the knowledge. and trying to do something about it. But people who reject it is talking about that. Such people bring about their own ruin because they reject the path to eternal salvation and keep rotating in the cycle of life and death. So this is the consequence or the price tag of not believing in this knowledge. Keep rotating in 8.4 million, which is anyway happening. Now, whatever our intellect is unable to comprehend, right? Let's say our intellect, something is not making sense. It's not able to comprehend. Then would you find faults in that? Or submit your intellect? The choice is always with us, right? Now, find faults is usually not a good thing. When you submit your intellect, especially, you should have a good reason to submit it, right? Even our teachings tell us, science tells us to inquire. In fact, the entire Bhagavad Gita is a dialogue. It is not a one-directional message where Lord Krishna is saying, hey, listen, I'm God, and just keep on listening to me and just take it on face value. And no questions asked, nothing of that sort. It's a very beautiful dialogue that is unfolding between Arjun and Krishna. And Arjun is a proxy for all of us because he has asked anything and everything a soul needs to know in the generations to come, not just us, but for the future generations to come as well. Anything and everything that plagues your mind has been asked by Arjun and has been answered by Lord Krishna. Okay. Nobody can say that, my problem, I cannot find an answer to it in Bhagavad Gita. Not possible. Everything is answered there. Okay. So there must be a veracity in it, of course. You need to have a good reason to believe, because when you come in contact with the Guru, that's where the significance of Guru comes. And the right attitude is, if I cannot understand it present, let me accept it and engage in spiritual sadhana. I'll be able to comprehend it in future when I progress spiritually through sadhana. This attitude is called Shraddha or faith. Now, faith does not mean you have gotten all the answers and now you will progress. No, doesn't work that way. Faith means whatever you have been able to understand little, start practicing it with a humility that currently I cannot understand a lot of things. Due course of time, I will. It's just a matter of time before I will. That is called faith, right? It's similar to that 10-20 mile journey where you are only able to see 200 feet ahead. And when you go to 200 feet with that lantern, the next 200 feet are visible. And when you cover that 200 feet, the next 200 feet are visible. And that is how you cover the entire journey. Did you know the entire way through that lantern to the end? Of course not. So now you're going from understanding to understanding to understanding. And if you have this inertia, you know what? Okay, that is fine. But I'm going to ask Guruji who was Angad's mother, sister's, cousin's daughter name. Okay. How would it help knowing that? Some people have that pride too. They're going to ask some random question which has absolutely nothing to do with spirituality, nothing to do with, the fact that it would help them make progress in spirituality, and keep on asking questions. That is also our pride and misplaced priorities. And some people think that only when I get answers to all of my questions will I take my first step in life. That is also not right, right? Swamiji gives an analogy that if you were to think that all the signals were to turn green, then only I'll put my foot out of my house, then also that is being very naive. Okay, signals will turn green. Whatever path is visible, you take the first step, and of course, in due course of time, the road will get clear. So this is a journey from understanding to understanding as opposed to from doubt to doubt. So that is a clear concept. Okay, understanding to understanding. And few things may not make sense right now. Just suspend it, leave it aside. Right? It's very implausible to think that a big monkey carrying a mountain, flying over an ocean, all those concepts, suspend it for now. Due course of time, it'll all settle down. So pick up questions, pick up battles that truly add value at this point. Till then, focus on things that have really made sense to us. And then tell that, okay, my intellect is not really ready for it. When it is, in due course of time, it will also click. And that is the definition of faith. Okay. By the way, next session we will do, next session we will do on Monday, because tomorrow I'm traveling, unfortunately, and we will talk about faith. We do not walk by sight, we walk by faith, and we are going to talk about faith, that topic of faith, and that's going to happen next week. But I'm just tilling the ground on the faith aspect of it because it is a very, very essential ingredient on the path of spirituality and no different in material world as well. You put a lot of faith in a lot of people all around throughout the day. All right, so this is the right attitude. Now, let me pose a question here. You see the paradox here? You cut an apple and it turned out to be a watermelon. Can happen, right, in life? I hope it happens. Now let's talk about atheists here a little bit. And then I'm going to pose a question. Maybe we don't have a poll, but maybe by a show of hand, you can answer that question. Now, first question that I have is, can anybody be truly an atheist? Okay, that's the first question. And the second question I want to pose to all of you is, maybe show of hand, you can say, how many feel that they are theists? They are believers. You can just raise your hand or put a tick mark. Because Lord Krishna is talking about believers and non-believers here, right? And this last shloka and this shloka. So by a quick show of hand, you can just tell if you are a believer, you are a theist, you believe in God, yes or no. If you believe, you can raise your hand. And if you don't believe, you can, or if you don't, maybe I can do it the other way around. Yeah, if you believe, you can raise. Very few people believe out of the majority that we have. I hope it's a technical problem more than anything else. All right, okay, more majority have started raising their hands. Anybody who's a self-proclaimed atheist here? You want to talk about? Because I still see a lot of people. Okay, most of the people I see, at least on the screen, is they've raised their hands, so they are theists. Okay, which is good to know, and that's probably why we are here on these sessions, right? Anybody who wants to speak up and say, no, I'm an atheist. I mean, we are entitled to our belief system. That is perfectly okay. Anybody who feels that way? Okay, nothing's going to happen. We'll just have a discussion. Okay, so if you don't believe, that's fine. Okay, so I would imagine that others are not able to raise their hands for whatever reason. So now the interesting thing is that we are all theists, believers, and that's probably why we are on these sessions and trying to understand the deeper secrets of spirituality and what Lord Krishna said, right? Trying to get the import of Bhagavad Gita. Now, one of the interesting things about being a believer is, what our scriptures say is, when you truly believe in God, you will realize God. Okay, that means we're still not complete believers. We are work in progress believers. The day you will believe in God, you will realize God. There is not even a fraction's delay. Okay, that is the definition of God realization. So it's a question for us to reflect upon, that we are not in part of that ignorance thing, where we can say we don't have exposure to that knowledge. Okay, sorry, I've cut off that option for you. Okay, now that you're attending these classes, you cannot make that excuse anymore to Chitragupta that we never got this knowledge. Now we have been exposed to this knowledge not just in this lifetime, but a lot of multiple lifetimes, probably in the past as well. But still we are not able to realize God. That means somewhere something is stopping us. That belief is not 100%. That gap of where we are and where we need to be, seeing is not intolerable as yet. Doesn't mean something is going to change drastically tonight. But if we truly reflect on it, that is the fact, right? So our belief system, when it starts becoming stronger and stronger with, God is the ultimate thing, and he's going to take care of us, and the principles of surrender and all that stuff, then of course our journey will be much faster. And of course it's going to be journey. It's not a unit step function. But the point is, a believer, if we are truly believe in God, will realize God the very same day. That is how it works. Okay. Now coming to the atheist part of it. Yes, Sandhya, you had a question?
Yeah. So this was regarding the, like, in order to become complete theist or develop full faith, we are incapable of doing it on our own. Like for that matter, the statement about having that ability of discrimination, like we can have those sincere desire and efforts, but I think without God's grace, we cannot develop that complete faith or theist. So we
True.
have to ultimately cry out to God for that, right?
True. On our self-effort, we cannot crack this code, to put it simply. Okay, we need a guide along the way, and that guide is called a guru. And by God's grace, we get one. And with His grace, we meet Guru. That is how the process goes. But the first step we have to take, we have to have a reason. Like that kid is in that ditch. If kid is happy in that ditch, why would even God would care even to send out a guru or a right? That the first spark has to come from us, that we need something different. I'm going to challenge my status quo. I've not gotten to this world to grow up, do studies, then get married, raise kids, pay EMIs, and then walk off, or probably raise my grandkids. Is that the whole purpose of life? When people who start challenging it, then start believing in divinity, that's when the process starts to unfold, right? And then the speed could vary based on how much we can solidify our belief by aligning to those teachings and really putting in faith, right? So that is the whole idea. Now, going back to the other question is, can anybody truly be an atheist? See, we are neither theists nor atheists. We are somewhere in between. Okay, that is the true definition. It's not here or there, ar ya par, black or white. We are in gray. Now the question is, are we believers? You said yes, and I said no. Okay, including myself, of course, not a believer, because if I was a believer, I would have realized God. Now, does that mean I'm a non-believer? Yes, Dayashini, you wanted to add that question. Are we a non-believer? Who is a non-believer? Can anybody be a non-believer? Dayashini, you wanted to add something?
Radhe Radhe. Yes, so I want to agree whatever you said, Bhaiya, because I was just exactly thinking that neither we are atheists nor we are theists, because if we would have been an atheist, we would not have attended the class. And theists, and because this theist option came, one story came into my mind, which Swamiji usually says, that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, I think, when he was at the last moment of his deathbed, he was surrounded with his disciples, and he asked that, are you really having faith on God, and do you really believe on God? And they said yes, but the thing is that he explained that no, you don't believe in God, because if you would have believed, then you would have preached to the whole world, which I was able to do. So with thinking that story in mind, I feel so humble, and like more humble, and I think that I don't fall in this category also. Then which category do we fall in? So that
Right.
was
So
my
let's say
question.
people who are not attending or who are too busy in their life and they are self-proclaimed atheists. I would challenge even that definition. Even they are not atheists. They are also, ask them, are you seeking misery? They will say, no, of course not. Nobody seeks misery. We are seeking happiness. And if you are seeking happiness, the definition of scriptures and God's definition in scriptures is God is happiness. So they're also seeking God. It's just that they don't know, right? We call it father, and they may choose to call it as their mother's husband. Both are same, right? They are both referring to the same entity. So everybody is seeking God. Somebody calls it nature, Aya Namaha. They say it's nature. Somebody may call it something else. Somebody might choose to say that I'm after happiness, peace, and joy, but not God. But technically, nobody can be an atheist. Everybody is seeking God. And even after seeking, now we are theists because we are here, we are believers in God. But if we go by strict definition, we are also not believers as yet. We are work in progress believers at this point. Yes, Rahul?
राधे राधे. Just wanted to add, Tulsidas ji has mentioned that सभी श्री राम के भक्त हैं. ऐसा कोई है ही नहीं जो श्री राम का भक्त ना हो.
True. Everybody's. We are all devotees. And we all are serving God only. Why? How? You may say, no, I don't serve. I serve my boss, or I serve my family. You are serving his material energy. You are choosing to serve his inferior energy. You are still serving God. Nobody can stay without serving God. So God is saying, you are anyway serving me. You have no choice but to serve. So why not tweak your consciousness and say, I'm serving you, God. That's all I'm asking for. And the job is done. Whether we believe it or not, whether we know it or not, whether we agree or not, we are anyway serving somebody, right? We said that serving is our dharma. Whether we serve our business, whether we serve our family, whether we serve our boss, whether we serve our pet, kid, whoever it is, everybody has to serve somebody. It is like our eternal dharma. Like the dharma of fire is to burn or to its heat. The dharma of water is to be wet. The dharma of milk is to be white. Similarly, our dharma is to serve. So when all of us are serving, and when we are serving something, it has to be either Maya and material objects, right? Because everything is Maya around us. And when you tweak your consciousness, even when you are serving in the temple or anywhere, it is still material objects, right? They are not divine. What are you changing? The sentiment. That's all. You change the sentiment and you start getting the benefits. But we are not able to change the sentiment also because we want to enjoy for ourselves. So that is the whole problem. So God is asking us very simple thing to do. Just change your consciousness with proper knowledge. Don't stop doing anything what you're doing. Whichever position of life you are in, if you have to handle your business, you have to take care of your family, continue to do that. Don't think that you have to turn your back away, run away, and then take care of, spirituality is something that has to be practiced on Kailash or maybe in a forest or in some secluded place. Not at all. Continue doing what you are doing. Just change your consciousness around it that I am doing it for the pleasure of God. I'm doing it as a trustee, not as an owner. I want to do Karam Yog and not Karam Bhog. That's all. Yes, Sandhya?
Yeah, just a quick thing. I was just saying, can we say that we all are wannabe theists?
Wannabe thieves.
And is that some know it and some don't know it?
Yeah, wannabe thieves. Yeah. And
A
other
couple of
yes,
sorry.
Go ahead, Pramatamanji.
Couple of questions in the chat window. Should I read it?
Yeah, sure.
So to summarize, the journey between atheist and theist is not a unit step function, but a gradual progress walked in the guidance of Guru. Question mark.
Yes, that is true. Atheists are the ones who have self-proclaimed atheists are the ones who are yet to grow up. Okay. When they grow up, the first step that would come is acknowledging the divinity. Then the second step would come fearing the divinity. And the third step would come loving the divinity. So those are atheists anyways. Technically, nobody is an atheist. For us to become theists in true strict sense, of course, we have to work alongside a guru to strengthen our belief and faith. And then once we become true theists, the day we believe in God, we'll realize God. There's absolutely no delay. You believe in God and you've realized God. They say, right, we say Ram Ram, Radhe Sham, Krishna Krishna. Actually, when we start believing in that God has actually put all of his powers in his name, the first alphabet we will say, and after that we will faint. We can't even complete the name. That much power is there in God's name. Right? We keep on saying it from our tongue, but it has truly not sunk in right now. So that is how our scriptures explain us, and Swamiji keeps on telling about. When I hear it every time, it hits me like a ton of a brick, and then their intellect is still not cooperating. So I always wondered, so easy for me to say Radhe Radhe every time, Radhe Radhe and Radhe Radhe. It's just coming from your tongue, right? Not even gone into throat and then into your soul, because when it starts going, the power is so immense that you cannot tolerate it. You will just faint. Ra and you will faint. That's it. That is how the state we have to reach finally one day. Yes, Chandruji.
One more question, please.
Mhm.
Is there any third category where a person is theist or atheist as?
This must be a question from Sam, I guess. So the answer is the crocodile is next to the alligator, okay? The one next to the alligator. There's no third category. I mean, you believe in God or you don't, right? Maybe there might be some Scientology or something who believes in alien, okay? That might be a category, but I don't know that. How does that help? I would just categorize simply as God or not God. Otherwise, we can keep on introducing categories and nobody stops us, right? But doesn't help us.
Go ahead, Chandruji. Radhe Radhe.
Okay, Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Chandruji.
The difference also between theists and atheists would be like you need a determined determination, very strong determination. And even the mind should be very disciplined. You cannot sway, like Maharaji says, attach and detach. We go 50% today, and then we go another 50% the next day. So with that kind of attitude, we will never be on our path, true to on our path. The perseverance will just diminish. Do you agree with that?
The precedence would diminish for what? Sorry, Chandruji, I couldn't get the complete question.
No, the question is to be, we are not atheists, we are all theists over here. But that's where the path I'm talking about, that we will be considering ourselves as atheists if we are not going to be determined.
Yeah, we are theists. We are a work in progress theists, I would say. We are more on the believer side, not the non-believer side, but we are work in progress, because the day we will truly 100% believe in God, we'll realize God. That is the definition given in scriptures. So yeah, we are theists in progress, work in progress, or wannabe theists.
Yes,
See, as such,
yes.
if somebody asks you, I would say, yes, I'm a believer. This definition is a much deeper definition. You can exercise only with people who have Tattva Gyan, right? If somebody asks you, who are you? And if I say I'm a soul, it may freak them out, right? So I will say I'm so-and-so. Similarly, if somebody asks, you believe in God, we simply say yes. But when in heart of heart, we know this knowledge that if I was truly a believer, I would have realized it by now. And that will keep us motivating us further. So this is more of a definition to be socialized with people, but more for our internal reflection, I would say.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Which category would...
Sorry, Amitavaniji, I wanted to, before I forget, I think there are a lot of festivities around the Navaratri thing, including Sundarkand part, other things. So please, please make sure you can announce that, and I don't remember it all. So yes, Monica ji, after this question, maybe.
Go ahead, Monica ji.
Radhe Radhe everyone, Radhe Radhe Nitin ji. So Nitin ji, when you truly realize, when you truly believe in God, so I'm sure a lot of us, when we do, we are doing group dhyan, and we believe truly in God. So what did you mean when you said that, when you truly believe, right? Because I truly believe, I try and imagine him like
we are simulating and taking a step closer to that. Okay. So that is what it is. We are simulating it actually in our head right now. But then also, see, the test of that is that we still have so many ashrays that we rely on. Have we given up everything and say, God is my protector and caretaker? Of course not. We have our secret stash with our family, with our kid, with our money, with our prestige, with our fame. There are too many things right now. God can test us like this, and it will prove to us, okay, we are not yet there. Okay, we are not yet ready to say, God, you take care of me yet. We're not there yet. So we are simulating, which is a very great giant step that we have taken. And with Guru's grace, we will continue to make progress. And there would come a stage where we will start becoming Nirasharit as well, where it's like only dependent on you, God, nothing else. Okay, that is the state we have to reach, and we are already on the track for that, and we are on the right track. So that's essentially what it means.
Thank you. Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe.
Which category would Sanatani be, and Hindi word of theist and atheist?
Sanatani, sorry, can you please repeat that?
Which category would Sanatani be? And the other one is Hindi word for theist and atheist.
Sanatani was what? Sanatani is one who follows Sanatan Dharam, you mean?
I'm not sure.
Following
Would you like to...
Sanatan Dharam, eternal Dharam. See, it's a very deep definition. Sanatani does not mean one who believes in Sanatan Dharam alone. Now, what is Sanatan?
Would you like to ask the question? So,
yeah, Radhe Radhe. Amrita ji, thank you very much.
Radhe Radhe, Surendra ji.
Nitin ji, what we understand is that the eternal religion is Sanatan. That is the English word of Sanatan.
Yes, Sanatan means eternal.
Eternal. Now, all the Christian, Muslim, Jewish, and then residually became Hindu. Hindu is high. I don't believe that Hindu is a religion at all,
Mhm.
because Sanatanis have tried to make their identity as Hindu.
Mhm.
Therefore, the word theist or atheist, I wanted to understand how do we describe them in Hindi?
Astik or Nastik?
Yes, Astik and Nastik. Yeah, I've got
Astik and
answers. in the
Nastik.
chat.
आस्तिक इज थीस्ट,
Theist,
नास्तिक इज अ
Nastik.
थीस्ट।
Yes.
तो हम कह रहे हैं कि हम ना नास्तिक कोई हो नहीं सकता, क्योंकि हर कोई भगवान को ही ढूंढ रहा है, चाहे वो ये मानने को तैयार हो या ना हो कि ही बिलीव्स इन गॉड। और नास्तिक, हम नास्तिक भी नहीं है, तो आस्तिक भी नहीं है। जिस दिन हम आस्तिक हो 100% आस्तिक हो जाएंगे तो भगवत प्राप्ति हमें उसी समय हो जाएगी। सो we'll end up realizing God the day we are 100% theist or astic. So now Sanatani, when you came about, Sanatani is basically one who practice the eternal dharma. And actually none of us, majority of us do not. So eternal dharma means the dharma of the soul. And dharma of the soul is to love God. So until we are doing that, we are not Sanatani. We may like to believe, but none of Sanatani is the one who is actually fulfilling the eternal dharma, which is that of the soul. We are actually trying to fulfill the dharma of the body. Okay, more at the bodily platform as yet. But if we are at the platform of the soul and we are serving God and loving God, then we can call ourselves as Sanatani. But to your question, I hope I answered your question a little bit. Astik and Nastik is the Hindi word for atheist and theist.
Nitinji, thank you very much. You are top, always top. I have an objection to what you just said 2 minutes ago, that you are traveling unfortunately. No, don't use the word unfortunately. When you are traveling, it is the God's wish, it's the God duty you are doing. Don't use the word unfortunately. Thank you.
Okay, yeah, I always feel, when I have to miss session, I don't feel good. So maybe unfortunately I can replace it by Durbhagyapur. Okay, I would. Everything is happening for a good reason. Good
Whatever
reason,
you are
but yeah,
doing is a duty of the God. That's all.
right. Duty of God.
God bless you. May
Thank
you all
you.
succeed in the journey.
Dhanyavad. Yeah, so I just want to reiterate, we'll not have tomorrow's session. We'll meet on Monday and we'll talk about faith. We have introduced the concept of faith. Let's talk about faith. It is a very important, essential ingredient on this path of spirituality. And by the way, nobody walks or treads their life without faith every day. It's a leap of faith we take, no matter what we are doing. And it's no different in spirituality as well. But spirituality is an intelligent faith in a lot of ways. And we'll talk about that. Yes, a few announcements quickly make, and then we'll get to hands before. Yeah.
Okay. So
Radhe,
yeah, for the now. Sorry, Sumesh, 1 minute. I will just do the announcement. Sorry about that.
Okay.
So for the announcements that the tracker has been posted, so please do fill that. We have a family camp that will be in July. There is an early bird discount till April 20th. So please do register for that. And tomorrow we have a yoga session. So if anybody is interested, it's 5:30 p.m. CST on the same bridge. And we have satsang this Sunday. And please do attend that. We have special satsang, if I'm right. We have Mata Ki Chokki is on Saturday, right, Sandhya ji, if I'm right? Yes, Saturday we have Mata Ki Chokki, but I know it's only in person, but yeah. Yes, Nitinji, those are the announcements. So
Good. Yeah, we have some
Sumesh.
participants who's, it's like fulfilling their dream attending Mata Ki Chowki. So it's going to be a very awesome event. Very nice Jagratas and all that stuff. So please do come and avail that. Yes, Sumesh, please go ahead.
Thank you for waiting. Sorry.
रास पंचाध्यायी says that man eva manusyanam karanam bandha moktayo.
Panchadashi says that. Panchadashi says that. Yeah, please.
Sorry. Mind is the cause of happiness and misery. And Sri Maharaj also says in Bhakti Satak that बंधन और मुक्त का कारण मन ही बखान याते कौने भक्ति करू मन से हरि ध्यान. So my question is that mind is attached in worldly people and he gets misery. when mind get will attached in you, and that they can uh, release from misery. Or Sri Krishna said that when the time of death, we remember where after death we will go there. So when the time of death we are remembering, we will remember you. Then may we go to abode of the Sri Krishna.
Okay. Okay, I got a question. So basically, see, Tattva Maharaj Ji, Swamiji says, no worldly people, only God and Guru. Okay, why? Because worldly people you don't know. See, if your mind comes to somebody like me, you may end up becoming a polar bear. You don't know how much secret stash I have for sleeping, right? So would you like to waste your life becoming a polar bear and playing in snow for 6 months and sleeping for the remaining 6 months? So it's a very tricky thing. It should always be in God and Guru, okay? Otherwise, it's very risky. So do it at your own risk, basically, if you want to do that. But surely, I would like to enjoy your company, when I become polar bear, because I need a good company there as well. But it's very risky, so don't do that, okay? It's always has to be in God and Guru. Maharaj has very clearly said that. Jad Bharat, there are so many examples. So in your mind, be very clear that wherever it goes finally, that's what you end up achieving. So, and with worldly people, you don't know where they're going to go, right? They have their own prarabdha, their own sanskars, and God knows what they will end up thinking at their time, and they might become a donkey. Then why do you want to become a donkey, right? So it's very, very risky. God and Guru, that's it, nothing else. Okay. But I kind of know, where my secret stash is. I'm trying to conquer that. I see Arjun had this siddhi of controlling sleep. He could go sleepless for so many days. I'm just the opposite. Anytime, any place, for however long I want and wherever I want. It's like too much of problem. So very risky if you think about worldly people. I would recommend never do that, because you don't know where their sanskars would take them. Okay. So keep on meditating on Maharajji, Krishna, and even Swamiji. I would say that's a much more safer bet. Okay, that sense. All
So
right.
one question, Nitinji. I think if I would believed in God, I would not have need life insurance or health insurance, isn't it?
Yes, very true. See, Maharajji, actually, one of his initial pracharika whom he made, he told her, she was a queen. He told her, you just walk with do jodi kapda, and I think he had given some 3 coins or 4 coins, something like that. I don't remember that exactly. And start walking towards Vrindavan. Okay, so this lady, she said, okay, let me take, 2 extra jodi, 4 jodi, and some 10 extra coins. Who knows, on the way I may need those. And then she started departing for Vrindavan, but she followed the instruction. That was the good thing. And then on the way, she decided to take a bath on a river. Okay, because she was walking for too many days. And when she started taking bath, a monkey came. Okay, and guess what that monkey does? He picks up 2 saris, not all, and all the extra coins that she had. Okay, and just drops it in the water and flees away with that. So then she was reminding the Guru's word. You have to be nirasharit. You have to repose faith in what God is saying and not take your own bal. Okay, I will need this, I will need that. That is the state we have to reach. Look at Swamiji. I mean, he just roams around with a bag. Nothing. Even if somebody gives him something, cashews or badam, he distributes it right then and there. And he's totally ashrit on what people feed him. Right? He used to say when he was doing, working with Maharajji, he would keep an extra roti, in his pocket, because otherwise he may have to go without food for so many long time in certain villages and stuff like that. So nirasharit, it's like somewhere somebody is going to take care of you. That is a very high level of surrender, advanced level of surrender, where you are nirasharit. We can't let go of our things, the safety nets that we have built, our insurances, our jobs, and all the cozy comforts that we think we have built around us, right? If Guru call tomorrow comes and say, hey, leave everything and come with me, would you hesitate for a moment, or will you do it just like that? That is the real test of surrender. So it's a journey for sure. It's a bit of a journey. Doesn't happen so straight easily, right? Mind is conditioned from so many lifetimes. So that insecurity, the fear, the anxieties, and all that stuff will also go layer by layer. But at least we are picked up a path which is helping us do that. So we should feel good about that.
Go ahead, Sandhya.
So actually Ravi ji added one more category. And I think it's more of an English language cosmetics, but which is like agnostics.
Agnostics, agnostics, I've heard that too. Yeah.
Neither believe in in neither of the two categories, basically.
Yeah,
That's the definition.
agnostics typically it leans more towards non-believers. That's how I read it. But yeah, I mean, you can call agnostic as another category.
And Kumarji said polar bears are fun, no worries for them.
Before I had this knowledge, I used to think that in Ramayana, the most sorted out character was Kumbhakaran. Okay, just eat and sleep and make merry. No issues whatsoever. But after that, I figured out, no, that's not the case. So you have to. And when he woke up, he got killed by Ram. So again, he went to Saket Lok. So he had a very cool, relaxed life, to be honest. But yeah, it's not fun actually. And Polar Bear Swamiji has mentioned in his Bhagavad Gita commentary only, based on the kind of secret stash that you have, your next birth is determined by that. So that is my ongoing worry, sleep thing. And Maharaji says that is one of the highest bliss in this world as well. And when that Sandhi stage comes, when you are about to sleep, even if your house is on fire, you will not care. Okay, we just go to sleep. That is how powerful sleep is. But overdose of everything is bad for sure. Yes, Monica ji.
Please go ahead, Monica ji. Oops, sorry. Go ahead, please.
Radhe Radhe again. Nitinji, just a funny question actually. What kind of secret stash would someone have to become a mosquito or ant or these small
Some people like to suck blood out of others, right? Regardless of where they are. So maybe they are made mosquitoes or vampires. I don't know.
Okay. Just that.
And some people, they have a habit of singing and telling, can you listen to my song? So I think that might be another category. Mosquitoes do that all the night, right?
Yes.
I don't know. That was a good trivia though. Okay. Do we have the other segment? See, I want to spin the wheel. I'm not getting an opportunity. Monday, I will definitely do that. So please fill on the feedback tracker and express your interest in reciting shlokas and singing. And then I'm going to spin the wheel and pick you up, okay? That is something I have to do that. It's been a while now. Everybody has started spinning wheels in their sessions and I need to do that again, okay? So let's do that. Yes, Anita.
I wanted to add one thing. I mean, this happened in the temple last year when Swamiji was there. He was going in the lift, so even I went along with him. And I was like, it was Swamiji and myself. I told Swamiji, wish this was 100 floors. I can. Then for that, he was like, he laughed and he said, what if the power goes? Then I said, nothing to worry. You are anywhere here, so why would I worry?
Yeah. That's nice. Yeah, it's only 2 floors. That journey might have been cut short, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Anita ji, please go ahead.
Yeah, Radhe Radhe. Like in Power of Thoughts, Swamiji wrote about reincarnation. Like Dr. Weiss says that he even verified, like if you want to born in other religion, you just need to hate that religion.
Start hating it, yeah.
So apply that to everything. If you want to be born like a mosquito or anything, so just start hating it. You'll get it. That's it. Thank you, Radhe Radhe.
That is very, very comforting thought, Anita ji. You freaked me out right now. But yeah, that is how it is. But that is a very powerful statement. He said, if you want to get born in a particular religion or tradition, the sure shot formula is to start hating it. So if you become an activist, I think some of us are here or were very, very tricky situation to be in, right? So rag and dvesh are attachment and are resentment towards somebody would result in achieving the same state or species that where a raga attachment object of that goes. It's a very, very risky thing. Yes, Shyamji, maybe the last question for the day and we can wrap it up then. Tomorrow we don't have a session, please remember.
Go ahead, Shyamji.
Fortunately, I will be traveling tomorrow. Surendraji, hope you like that.
One thing I want to just add for Ita's remark that I'm a true example of that. Whatever in my life till date I have hated, God has made me do that till date, and He is not shying away from it. Till yesterday also I was doing same thing what I hated, and I don't like Muslims as such. So now my wife is a business where she has all Muslim workers, so I have to deal with them day in day out. We recently bought a house, and we have to do some work there. All the people are Muslims out there, so this is just a God's way of telling me better behave yourself, or just you will not be there. As a matter of faith, I'll tell you, we had to buy a house, and I was short of about 1 crore rupees, and my ideas were not fulfilling as per the bank's requirement. So I applied to 4 banks. All of them said no, and we had to do registry by the 10th of this month. And I was one family. I was sitting coolly there. My wife was getting paranoid. Ki, what do we do? We already given half the amount, so it will not come back to us. That's okay. Let's see what happens. And trust you me, somebody called me out of the blue. You're looking for a loan. I like you about that, and I did not know that person. मैंने कहा ठीक है यार, तू भी आ जा कर ले. I knew हो जाएगा. कहाँ से होगा, कौन करेगा? I had no clue. So he made all the efforts. He came to my office, did all the paperwork, and he made sure I get a loan. And trust you me, I got a loan last evening of the registry. I got a loan, and on top of that, the bank had to come. You know, the banks come to the court with the DD. They don't give it to us. The court's timing was 11 in the morning, and I called the banker. Are you there? He said, no, I forgot to check in the bank, so it will be delayed. So I can give the photocopy of the check to the seller. Well, if I give the photocopy to the seller, he will give the photocopy of the house, not the entire house. And then it's okay. So the entire day got wasted. The legal department sent their rider to the bank. I have a house in Gurgaon, the court in Gurgaon. The bank was in Noida. So the entire day got wasted, and the guy delivered the check in the evening. So I know God is there with me. He makes my things happen, but He gives me run for it till date. So I totally believe that. And I know I hated all those things, and He had made me do all such things in this lifetime. And I'm still not following His path. I'm still hating some things. So I do not know where do I stand. Radhe Radhe.
A great realization, Shyambai. And I think one of the things you hated was presentation also, and you had to make that, right? So that was a good thing. And is it your younger brother that you're holding with you here right now?
Thank you so much. You're the perfect there. Yes. My younger brother.
Yeah, I made your day today. Okay.
You always do that. You always do that.
What's his name?
His name is Devik.
Devik. Yeah, we need Devik Gunas. 16.3 talks about Devik Gunas, Bhagavad Gita. A lot of Devik Gunas starting with. Very nice, Devik. Good to have you on the session.
Radhe Radhe. How are you?
Good.
Oh.
Okay, so with that, I think our session has already overshot the time. Anybody who wants to do a devotional segment or wants to go with the chanting today, although I'm not going to spin the wheel, you're welcome.
Actually, Samji has been messaging that she wants to sing. She wants to sing.
Yeah, Sam, go ahead. Maybe we can take 1 or 2 and then wrap up the session. We have a little bit of time, right? Amrutamaniji, you okay with that?
Yes, yes. Anything for Samji.
Yes, Sam, go ahead. Okay, first tell
Samji,
me. Go ahead.
Radhe Radhe. She turned off her camera. She says she's running away.
Amrutamaniji, this is cheating. This is really cheating. How can you ask me to sing? From tomorrow onwards, DWFBG can be closed. Okay, bye. Radhe Radhe.
We can put up with your singing, okay? Please go ahead.
No, Nitinji, please. Ask someone to sing. I listen.
Okay. We can spare you in that case. Let me remove the spotlight. But please do prepare. I'm sure you can sing as well, okay? You are a good actor. You can sing as well. Yes, Aarti ji, go ahead.
Go ahead, Aarti ji.
You wanted to sing?
Audible?
Yes, you are
Am I
audible.
audible?
Yes, yes.
Radhe Radhe everyone.
Radhe
Just
Radhe.
2 lines.
Sure,
Ah, ah. भगवान मेरी नैया तुम पार लगा देना अब तक तो संभाला है आगे भी संभाल लेना. Thank you.
Thank you, Aarti ji. Where are you joining us from?
From Varanasi.
Varanasi. Well, pleasure to have you and thank you. Short and sweet recitation that you did. And we'd love to hear from you more often. So welcome to the sessions. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yes, Surinder ji, you wanted to say something? And Sri Ramya, you wanted to sing? Let's Surinder ji first talk. Surinder ji wanted to say.
I thought to close this session today, I will, whatever we started with, we can close with that. Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah. Jai Mata.
Thank you very much. Jai Mata ki. Surinder ji. Yes, Sri Ramya, you wanted to say something?
Radhe Radhe, I wanted to sing if time permits. I think I'll take 2 or
Sure,
3
you are the
minutes.
last one, so you can go ahead
Okay.
and we can wrap up the session, please.
Yeah, sure. Thanks. I wanted to sing Radhe Jai Jai Madhava Daite. Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Daite. Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Daite. Gokula Taruni Mandala Mahite. Gokula Taruni Mandala Mahite. Damodara Rasivarsana Hari Nishkuta Vrindavipineshe Hari Nishkuta Vrindavipineshe Vrishabhanu Dadinavasati Devike Lalita Sati Guna Ramita Vishake Lalita Sati Guna Ramita Vishake Karunam Kurumahi Karuna Bharite Karunam Kurumai Karuna Bharite Sanata Sanatana Varnita Charite Sanata Sanatana Varnita Charite Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Daite Gokuda Taruni Mandala Mahite. Thank you.
Thank you, Sri Ramya. Very nice. Do you memorize it by heart or do you look at the screen and
I look at screen.
very nice, very nice. I think you have a, what do you call that, a desire to sing different bhajans and that's amazing and it's very nice and thank you so much for that. Okay, so with that, we come to the end of today's session. I look forward to seeing you next week. We'll talk more about faith. Stay blessed, stay happy and have a devotional weekend and rest of your day ahead. Radhe Radhe from my side. Good night.
Before that, quick thing, every Tuesday, Thursday and Saturday, we have a bhajan that goes on in Facebook, YouTube and all. So please do like that and please do see that also. Just wanted to
Our
mention
Seva
that.
teams are there, right? We have a big 4 task force, so they'll go after it and accumulate a lot of points.
Yes, please do like.
Take note of it and just say go. See, I've seen so much of activity, I'm telling you, in so many channels. So kudos to all of you for being so outstanding and diligent with your sevas. I would love to see more videos because that's a very sure shot way of getting a point for your team. Okay, so there's a potential for us to get more videos. Captains, you can keep a note of it and crack the whip accordingly. Okay.
And Nitinji, this reminds, we will, I guess, on Monday announce the introduction series.
Yes, Monday we will announce. I should have done that today. Why didn't you remind me? But anyways,
I also forgot.
look forward to it for the benefit of participants who are here. Okay, figure out how you're going to introduce yourself. We're going to give you a guideline maybe around your name, the place, what you do, and how
How
you
did you get introduced to the
introduce
yoga?
JK Yoga or the sessions. So quick intro, we would like to have it because a lot of participants, they want to know about each other. Okay, that request came from Champaji and a lot of other participants as well, right? So they don't know that we have a lot of good teachers, scientists, and IT professionals, engineers, pretty amazing people here. So they would like to know who they are, what they've been doing, how long they've been associated, what inspired them. So it will be a nice series that will stitch together. So all of you can start preparing for it. We'll ask you for short videos, and with no exceptions, all of you have to do that. We want to put faces to your names and have that series.
And for
Occasionally.
Seva teams, yeah, it will give them so many points as well.
Seva teams, of course, you get points for that, right? Great. So thank you. Anything else, Amritamani-ji? We good?
Shyamji had his hand raised, so you can unmute yourself, Shyamji. You can unmute yourself.
But I just wanted to say, everybody knows me here, who I am. So who would I tell मैं कौन हूँ? सब जानते हैं मुझे यहाँ पर. And Monica is just saying she wants to have numbers on this. She wants to say head of the team. So ऐसा हम कैसे काम करेंगे ना? We're getting lazy now.
Shyamji,
You can unmute yourself, Monica.
we can perfection को improve किया जा सकता है. We can improve perfection also, right? And the same goes with your intro as well. We all know you, but you can throw another surprise. Okay.
I am the one who's there from day one with camera on, all those nonsense talks, jokes, and coming here and teasing people around.
और थोड़ा सा नॉनसेंस करते हैं, साथ में करेंगे, don't worry. एक idea है.
This makes sense. This
Yeah,
now this
maybe,
makes
yeah, captains can do their joint presentation, right, of their introduction, right? See, now we have a framework. We can play around with it the way we want. So,
Yes.
You can have a quiz for the team captains from their team where we can have a quiz among them.
We should have like a 4 teams quiz thing. That will be
yeah, we
nice.
can do a live quiz, yeah, something like
Yeah,
that.
live quiz. And that will be nice. Good, Amritamani-ji. I like it.
I didn't talk anything.
So all points go to S teams, Seva team, selfless team. So whatever you do, you won't get any points. That's for sure.
Yeah. I think it's
So
going to
make
be fun. It's going to be fun. Sahi hai. Good. I think we have got some amazing participants. And by the way, I think after these presentations, a lot of people would be inspired to join your teams. Okay. And we'll make it more fun and engaging so that they also feel inspired. Seva can be fun, right? We can actually have fun along the way while doing the Hari Guru Seva. And, we have so many creative people here. So it doesn't have to be one of the checklist tasks. We can do it, having a lot of fun alongside it. And that's how we'll keep it. Okay, with that, we come to our end. Fortunately, I'm traveling tomorrow, so we'll not have the session again. Just a reminder, Tuesday morning and Monday evening, we will meet again and we'll talk about faith. So a very happy weekend to all of you. Radhe Radhe. Good night.
Thank you, everyone. Radhe Radhe. Rahulji, whose team are you? Because you get scores. You've been co-hosting in between for sessions.
Enthusiastic team.
That is why anytime you tell me on Thursday, are you able to post? Yes, I am. Yeah. So yeah.
Amritamani, we need more co-hosts, okay, so that people
Yes.
can
So
get
basically,
more-
every month, 4 times we have yoga sessions. So for that, we do not have it on a proper, like kind of, scheduled date. So it's just like on and off sometimes. So we really need co-host for that. So.
Sure.
Okay.
I'm sure more
good.
people
You did
will
twice. So.
come out of it, right? Okay, Radhe Radhe then.
Okay. Thank you, everyone. Radhe Radhe.
Thank you.
You wanted to say something, Monica ji?